very good morning at this special Q&A from Fontys ACI, representing the minor dance industry and the advanced course dance industry, but everybody is welcome to join during this special Q&A. Welcoming Lucas and Steve.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good that you're here.
Yeah,
Good to be here. Yeah.
pretty early.
I heard you just skipped yesterday night's press conference.
Yes, we were still at the studio making music, so I have to admit that if I am able to watch the press conference, I usually watch. But you know, at some point you get the feeling that it's kind of the same thing every
Yeah.
time anyway. So especially when you're at the studio, still in the zone, still making music, then
Just
fuck it,
yeah.
skip it.
I hear it
You
more
can
and
watch it
more.
online, right?
Yeah.
So
But what's your reaction to the news?
yeah, well, it's kind of the same. So still 3 weeks of a lockdown and till 9 February, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
shit. But yeah, we already knew this, right? That it's not
We knew
Not
it
too
all.
surprised.
going pretty well with all the with all the.
We knew it all the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to introduce you a little bit further in a minute. Let's just have a look at the program first. Can we have the program on screen, please? Well, we're going to do this in 2 parts, and all of you are welcome to join with questions. We're going to talk about the roots of these guys and their rise as Lucas and Steve, their breakthrough. Very interesting for you guys studying in this particular branch, the management and organization side. Then we're gonna have a short break. After the break, we're gonna zoom into, well, yeah, once again, we have to talk about it. These special viral days and how you challenged these viral days with threats and chances. We're gonna look beyond Corona, what's on the horizon for you guys, and well, you can ask your questions in between. Make sure to use the chat, but at the end we're going to do a wrap up, and there's time for you to ask your final questions to these guys. Some practical notifications before we start. Please mute your mics. You should know that by now from all these Teams sessions. No, not you, not you. But for the viewers at home, and also it's quite handy to pin this screen. So this screen we're broadcasting from, so you will maximize this view. Once again, if you have questions, please type them in the chat. And Nigel, my colleague from the minor dance industry and the advanced course, is here in the director's room, and he will pass them on to me so we can fly in all your questions. All right, let's talk about you guys.
All right.
In these special times, that's what you're here for. You are from the south of Holland, the
Yes.
deep south, and you represent a southern sound as well.
Southern sound.
Yeah.
And we need it these days. Well, we're looking
Holy
at
Great
very,
picture. Yeah.
Thanks for this amazing.
We tried to delete this one everywhere online, but apparently we did not succeed very well.
Google is quite severe on you guys. This is about the oldest picture I could find of you
This
guys.
is the oldest picture. Actually,
Yeah.
it's the first, the
First
very
press
first
picture.
picture.
Well,
I
the
think.
picture is
How
good.
old are we here? I think it's around
I don't know.
17 or something. It's 18 maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
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 Quite some time ago.
And what age are you now? So in
I'm
perspective?
28.
I'm 30.
Yeah, so that's about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Around the time you formed yourself as a
Exactly.
duo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're well, quite straight away you represent this southern sound, and Maastricht is a city you come from.
Maastricht,
Yeah.
It's not a city or a region that has a lot of headliner DJs, right?
No, and that's one of the reasons. Well, no, it's not one of the reasons why we left the region. It's more that you know, at some point, if you live in Maastricht and you start to tour the world, then you do want to have an airport a little bit closer to your home than Maastricht. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we got signed to Spinning Records when we were still living there, at least for a part.
Yeah.
And you know, we noticed that it was a big advantage to, you know, be close to the label, be close to the management, close to an airport, close to all the media that you can get in touch with.
Yeah.
So that's when Steve decided to move to Amsterdam, and I moved to Utrecht.
Yeah.
And that's where we're still living right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we throw it back long time to this time, you still managed to distinguish yourself, even living in the south. Well, not even, that's a bit too minor. But having in mind that there is not like a big scene in terms of EDM, of house music.
Well,
how did you manage to grow yourself over there?
We started off by actually Lucas was playing in a small club called the Il Cavo. It's just the start of our careers in a nutshell.
And that's a bar, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a bar.
Small club,
really
small club. Only fit around 150 people or so.
Yeah.
So there was a DJ contest for a new residency, and I participated in the DJ contest. I won the DJ contest. Lucas was in the jury.
You paid me a lot of money.
I paid a lot of money. And after that was were really long nights. So we have to play from 11 till 4 a.m. or something like that. Then we actually came to the idea to just play music together, because it was way more fun than just playing 6 or 7 hours solo in that club, and that was sometimes a bit boring. So then we started actually by playing together. That was a lot of fun. But separately, we were already producing music. So laptop and small speakers, nothing very special in your bedroom. And then actually we came to the idea to also make music together. And that was actually way better than when we worked solo. So after that, we decided to work together as a DJ duo, and that came in 2010, I think.
So you must have had a musical match then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That was the thing. As soon as we started producing music together, we noticed pretty soon that what we did together was way better than what we did on our own. We did already know each other a little bit, but we actually started making music because we had this musical connection, and it was actually later that we really became friends. It was just like, hey, there's this guy called Steve. We like the same music. We play kind of the same music. It's fun to perform together. Let's hang out. And that's where also the friendship started. And as soon as we became better friends, our music became better. And a couple of years later, we decided just to throw all the bookings that we had separately, to throw them on a big pile and start doing everything together. And I think that was indeed 2010, more or less.
What went before? Because both of you, but I know from you come from a pretty musical family or home, don't you?
I think you mean Lucas. His mother is a pianist. I studied conservatory, so that's in Haarlem. I first studied in Tilburg.
At the Rock Academy.
At the Rock Academy, but that was only for 1 year, and then I decided to go to the conservatory in Haarlem. But I actually came from my father was a drummer, but nothing really special. He was pretty good, and my brother is really he's also doing kind of the same thing with producing music. So we actually do. And my sister is working as a management in management.
She works for Mike Williams as well.
Yeah,
right?
and for Hartwell.
At Sorted.
Sorted Management. Yeah, but she quit at Sorted. She's working now at Revealed Recordings, so that's the label of Hartwell. Yeah. So actually, we're all kind of in the same genre, and that's really nice. So at Christmas dinners, it's always we're talking about music.
Poor mom and dad. Not this shit again.
Again.
They didn't get a role yet as your manager, managing the managers?
No. That's not. I don't think that's a really good idea to join with family. But we're working really close with my brother, also with side projects for music production. So, for instance, we're working on several tracks for Ronnie Flex or Maan, and then he's involved with the whole production. So that's fun. But I not really from a very musical family. Really creative, but not very musical.
Okay.
I think.
Lucas, what about you, Lucas?
I was born and raised listening to classical piano music because my mom is a professional piano player. So as soon as I was born, and I was probably still in her belly when I already heard a lot of piano music, my dad always played the guitar.
Yeah.
Sorry?
They say it really has influence, right?
Yeah, they say it does, and
You can see it.
It might it might have had a little influence. But yeah, from a really musical family. My brother played the saxophone. I played the drums from the age of 5, later played the piano, a lot of percussion, and now actually 1.5 years ago I started playing the guitar, so I'm really keen on getting my hands on instruments also. But yeah, just as soon as I think I turned 11, I think it was a little bit the same for Steve, we both started linking. Back in the day, I'm not sure if everybody's still familiar with that. Back in the day, you used to have Discmans,
Yeah.
like the portable CD player devices.
Yeah.
You couldn't even adjust the tempo of a track.
It was just fun.
We were just connecting them and try to mix, which obviously didn't work really well, but it was fun to do, and that's I think how we both started off at the age of 11 or 12.
Yeah. So how did you get on the path of electronic music? Because the classical influences are there, and the music click is there. But
for me, it was on my birthday. My parents gave me like a really small, kind of all-in-one DJ console kind of thing. It was nothing super special, but it was really fun. And they said, just if you like it, then just play around with it, and maybe it will do something. So I tried, and I think it was first time that I thought it was really fun to do something with music. So starting off with burning like the CDs, making myself a small studio in the townhouse that we had, and it was so much. I liked it so much to give all my energy to music that I thought it was a good idea to just save all my money and buy a laptop to produce music. And then I started off with this small thing called Magic's Music Maker and Fruity Loops. So that is kind of how it went for me. But I always liked the electronic music. In the Netherlands, it is you grow up with electronic dance music. It's on the radio. You can listen to it. You can party to it. If you go, when we,
it's hard to miss.
It's hard to miss. Like if we went out for the first time to the city when I was 14, and in all the clubs and all the bars, there was almost everywhere is electronic dance music.
Even in Maastricht.
Even in Maastricht.
Yeah. But to come back to that question a little bit, like what made the difference for you guys, even though you're from Maastricht, where it's not really famous for dance music, or that there's a lot of DJs from that city. But I think in the end, it doesn't really matter where you're from, as long as you have the economical stuff, and I mean, if you're from a small town in, I don't know, in the south of America, then it might be, or India or wherever, it might be a little bit more difficult. Of course, there's just a little bit less opportunity. But I mean, if you're from the Netherlands or just a well-developed economic country, I don't think it really matters where you're from, as long as you just go for it, and as long as you give it all the time you have, and you can miss, and put some real heart and effort in it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, record labels don't care where you're from. If they hear a hit, they know it's a hit, and they will support you to the max. So
that's true. I think that's true, but I'm just wondering how you got inspired. And most of the time you go out, and there's a lot of clubs around you and festivals. So, but you were too young maybe to already go to festivals.
We just built it from scratch. Actually, we were also too young to go to. Actually, we did go to festivals, but actually, when we started playing music, we were, I think, 16. Starting, I was 16. And then we started playing together, and then it was suddenly we played at festivals. So we just grow with the whole with the whole community and with the whole EDM scene.
And also a thing for us is like on paper, Lucas and Steve exist for 10 years. But still, the first 5 years of those 10 years, Steve was still studying at the conservatory. I was still studying in Maastricht, psychology and economics. So for us both, you know, really touring wasn't a thing yet.
No.
We did some smaller, sometimes bigger festivals in the Netherlands, but that was, you know, in a
building.
That was still building.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that, it was a full-time job combined with
study.
With full-time study. That's just impossible.
It was just
so
more kind of hobbying.
It went gradually during those first 5 years.
Okay, let's just have a look then at the first, well, maybe not the breakthrough, but the first real milestone.
Yeah.
Let's have a look and a listen to one of your first hits, your remix of All Right.
Nice.
Red Carpet. We have it on screen and we have the audio. I guess most people know this sample.
Yeah.
All those memories. Trip down memory lane.
Still love the artwork, by the way.
Nice.
I couldn't find a video clip.
No, I think we did. I think we did.
Yeah, so how do you look back on this track? Was it like the first, stare towards...
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy when this one was released because we never had any success as that even came close to this. So we went from zero to something that people noticed, which was super special and something you cannot expect. Also, we released this one on Hot Fingers Records.
Yeah.
I think it's originally from Italy or something, right?
Yeah. It's from Luigi Rocca.
Rocca, yes.
Yeah.
And,
Not really known in the commercial dance.
Yeah, but back then...
Back then was big.
Back then that was the stuff that we played all the time, was the
Yeah.
stuff on that record label. So we sent it, and I remember being at university, we got the email, hey guys, we want to sign this track of you. And
we were like,
we were
holy
shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then we didn't even dream of the success that the track would have, and at some point we didn't even notice until we got a lot of videos sent to us from all kinds of DJs playing it in Ibiza and Miami and on all the big festivals. And
we're like, holy shit, what's going on with this track?
It took us some time to realize even what was going on. So this was one of the career builders. This was in 2014, I think. Later on that year, we had another track that became even bigger, I think, which was a remix on Roughneck Everybody Be Somebody, and that one was in the, back then you had, it's still existing, Beatport, the DJ website where they get all their music from, and I think both tracks were in the top, in the global top 10 for like half a year or something, which was really spectacular, especially because it wasn't released by Spinning Records. Because back then they were dominating the charts on that website, and that's why they got in touch with us.
Yeah,
like
that's what happened next.
Yeah.
And
first I want to just give just a little thing to notice. We actually made those remixes. That was a tactical plan of us. So we we're finding a way that we could make those tracks noticeable for other DJs, but also for the charts, that it is recognizable and like they knew the sample already. For instance, that All Right track was a very famous sample, and when that success came, we thought, okay, we have to give this one a follow-up step, and that was the Roughneck Everybody Be Somebody. So in no time, we had two big tracks in that top 10, but it was really well known from the team that we had back then in Maastricht from our agency back then. It was Thunder Agency. They said, yeah, you make tracks that people can play, and that really people that they know already. So make samples or try to create something around a sample, and that's what we did back then, and that gave us that next step, because when we get noticed in that top 10 of Beatport, then Spinnin' Records came. So it was really a kind of a tactical plan to just release those remixes.
Yeah. That's the kind of technical plans that Spinning works with as well, right?
As well, yeah.
True,
so,
yes.
so they came and they saw us kind of dominating that top 10 for almost half year with 2 tracks. And then we received an email from Spinnin' Records, the publishing department. They were like, guys, where are you from and why are you not signed at Spinnin' Records? And we're like, okay, this is the biggest dance label in the industry. So we went for the first talk, and I really know that was really special, because it's the biggest dance label in the world. Came with a small USB stick with all unreleased tracks, and we just sit there with the biggest A&Rs, the artists and repertoire. They're searching for all the music at Spinnin' Records. And then we were showing all the tracks, and they were like, okay, it sounds pretty good. We're gonna think about it. And we will let you know. And then I think 2 or 3 months later, the first deal was there with publishing, and then I think a month later we also got signed by the record label. That's a different department. So that was kind of exciting time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And how does, because they're building artists there, right? You were building yourself with the team you had back then, but then they really start investing in you as an artist and as a producer as well. How should we imagine such a process? Is it like a long-term plan? What does it consist of? What's included? Are they taking you to look like 10 years ahead, or what's the plan look like in a nutshell?
I think basically what Spinning has always been extremely good at is making stuff noticeable by the world, by the industry, as soon as something good is about to happen, and they have a sense for that. They know very well how to scout artists that have a huge potential, and then they invest a little bit in that artist, motivate them, give them a little bit direction, because they have incredible A&Rs that listen very carefully to what's going on in the world. And as soon as there's a trend in music, a certain hype, then they really know how to stimulate their upcoming artists to develop their sound a little bit in that direction, or maybe in the next step already. That's what their Jorn Heringa, the
well, he's a former
Spinning.
student of us here.
He
studied here, so he's the main guy there. Right?
Absolutely, and he usually already knows what will be going on in the future.
It's kind of frustrating also for us.
And of course we don't always agree, and sometimes we absolutely don't agree. But in the end, he's a lot of times he's still
actually
right.
He's always right.
Yeah, and that's incredible. And he's a great guy, and he's also played a big role in the start of our career, and he still is.
Still is. Yeah.
But that's the thing. So they give a little bit direction to upcoming artists. Then as soon as the artist in particular is hitting the right note, so to speak, then they start pushing that and making sure that the whole world knows about this, and getting everything ready for when that artist is about to pop, that everything can go really fast internationally. Making sure that the artist, that's a management thing that they don't do anymore. But to make sure that as soon as it really happens, that there's a booking agency, that there's a PR company behind it, and so everything can be accelerated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about the next track then? I guess can we see and hear it, please?
The next one. What is it?
Well, it's the first real radio hit.
There we go.
Oh, yes.
Was this because radio is like keyword at spinning, right? If they're no,
I don't think it's a
It
keyword.
depends on
Depends
which
on the
artist.
artist,
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But like Ilko, one of the founders, always said like that's like the key to the big success in the world. He always said was radio. He came from radio and Radio Nest, of course. But true, it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
Was this track on the USB you just mentioned? Or
No. This one came later. The first track for us on actually the radio was
Make It Right.
not Summer on You, but Make It Right. But this is the biggest one. Obviously, the bigger one than Make It Right. We had a couple of more follow-ups that were bigger than Summer on You, but. This was a collaboration with Sam and Wolf, who is also a well-known singer nowadays. And it was Sam came with a demo to us with a kind of a small start of the song, and then we did. Actually, it was not really like major adjustments, some small things. Did some mixing work, and then it was finished. And it's actually also a pretty simple song, but it is very efficient.
Shall we just have a
we
listen
can.
for
Yeah.
those who don't know it yet? But everybody knows. Let's just get back to that feeling.
Yeah.
We were in love with the sun. We were in love with the sun, sipping on coke and rum. My head up in the clouds, but when I look back now, ain't nothing else I would do. When I spent the summer on you, our troubles all on the rocks. Our troubles all on the rocks, filling our plastic cups. Down by the riverside, we spent those long hot nights until the sky turned blue. When I spent the summer on you. I spent the summer on you. When I spent the summer on you. Most things in life ain't free. Most things in life ain't free, but you were all that I need. My feet down in the sand, you took the watch from my hand and said it's no more use. When I spent the summer on you, we were in love with the sun. We were in love with the sun, sipping a coke and rum. You asked me.
Well done, guys. It's your achievement,
Cool.
and
Yeah.
Sam and Wolf, of course.
Yeah.
But this is your.
This was
your
the
first
breakthrough,
biggest
yeah,
hit,
Yeah.
right?
It's funny actually. We all blew up after
Yeah.
this.
It's
After this song,
pretty,
Yeah.
pretty
including
strange.
Wolf.
Including Wolf,
which is cool because a lot of times when you have a hit, it can happen a lot that the vocalist is kind of a little bit more in the back. But Wolf, for him, I think this was also a big career starter.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, we have some questions from the chat.
Okay.
They passed them on to me.
Cool.
The one is from Kim van Zandvoort, and she asked, well, I think from our perspective, it is difficult to understand the gap between the beginning period and becoming a bit famous. So she's still a bit curious about that. How did that go? She asked, have you approached spinning yourself? But it wasn't,
No,
right?
no,
It came
no.
to you. How did you start marketing and branding? Well, just before spinning, that's what she wants to know as well.
Actually, we didn't start with marketing and branding at all.
That's one of the
that's
things
one of the things
that if we would have to start over again,
Yeah.
or maybe in the future build another artist, that's the first thing we would recommend.
Yeah.
Definitely start with that because it's easier to do
To
it
sell.
in the beginning and then to sell
Yeah.
and as soon as you have a hit and you already have a brand, things can go a little bit faster. And now we had to
We started from zero.
yeah.
Actually, when we got signed to Spinnin', we started with all the marketing, where all the other artists who got signed to Spinnin', they already had some marketing. And I have to be honest, we are not really marketeers, or we're not really good at selling ourselves. We're really actually only were making music back then. So we actually focused on the whole music part and playing and touring. That our manager, who was working also at Spinning Records, she had a hell of a job working on that, the whole marketing, because we actually didn't have any. So if I...
what is it you're talking about on exactly? What kind of marketing and branding?
Well, kind of the brand of an artist is the brand of an artist is based on kind of marketing. So we for instance, we used for Let Us to Remember our album, we used a kind of a marketing side that Let Us to Remember is our album, including 12 tracks, and they all we saw it as all the 12 tracks were a letter from us to our audience.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a road trip that we took from the last 10 years that we produced music to upwards where we are right now, and what we learned. So all those 12 tracks are kind of a memory that we had from the last 10 years. And that's what we did with the whole album and the branding. So the website, the visuals for our shows, the tracks that we play, the edits that we make, everything has to fall in that as a puzzle.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the selling thing that we try to give for bookers that can book us on a festival or promoters, but also for PR interviews. Q&As.
But also, what I would like to add to that, like the stuff that we've done from the beginning, but because we really weren't thinking of it, but it's something that kind of happened, is that we always branded ourselves as just the guys that we are. I mean, it's pretty easy if you see our name. It's Lucas and Steve. It's as easy as that. And somehow, but that's as soon as we started working with Spinning. We had a lot of conversations with them on how to brand. What are you going to do? Are you guys going to wear masks on stage, dress up? I don't know what kind of stuff all passed those conversations. But in the end, we kept on branding ourselves just the way we are. We are Lucas and Steve, who make music ourselves. And that's a thing that we're still working on just to show that we play a lot of piano and guitar on social media, that we show a lot of studio stuff, because for a lot of artists that is just not the case. They perform or make music, but the people that do both is I think that's rare. It's an exception.
Yeah.
So that kind of became the what you see is what you get, normal kind of guys vibe is kind of what became our branding.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Ian Kuipers watching as well. He wants to know about your performances, because that's of course you just explained how the plan and the machinery at Spinning works. So you come with hits, then your bookers get work. And he wants to know what shows were really important to you. I found, of course, one amazing example of you guys at the last edition of Tomorrowland. Let's just have a look first at that one.
Cool. Feels like a long time ago, and I think it's something we should all we also need some time to get used to that again. In the beginning when we started DJing, it started in the Il Cavo club of 150 people, then a little bit bigger festival, maybe 1,000 people, and it took us a period to do festivals with 60,000 or 100,000 people, but now I hope, but it will probably be like, you start again after doing maybe a year, maybe 1.5 years, almost nothing on stage from getting, it's that entry level of 60,000 people again, so it will take some time to get used to that.
Could you compare it in football terms, like the first phase in like the Jupiler League and then getting into the Champions League with the Tomorrowland?
Maybe,
I think so.
I think you start as playing football as a hobby. That's what we also did with playing in the Il Cavo, or it's just building towards that big shows.
Yeah.
And what we saw here is the Tomorrowland from last year. It was raining, and this was one of the weirdest shows that we did, but probably one of the sickest.
Totally.
We started, there was a guy playing before us who was playing really, really rough techno kind of vibes, really dark and underground, and we're like, okay, that's strange.
Also in
the weekend before we did the main stage, so we're actually already hyped about that one because that was really, really sick.
We were already satisfied.
We were already satisfied. So it only, this one, that was actually a bonus. And then we came to the stage 15 minutes before, looking at the field, nobody. There was like literally maybe 10, 20.
Yeah. We got really nervous.
Yeah. So what the fuck is going on? Who else is playing on the other stages? And we're like, this is why and how is it happening? Because last week we did the main stage and there was like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And then I think 5 minutes before showtime, I just had another look, full.
Yeah.
Like there was in I think 15 minutes. The whole stage became from 10, I don't know how many people there were, probably 6,000 or 7,000. And I think it was one of the best shows that we did, maybe even better than the main stage.
I think that's what we decided afterwards. Like it was the comparison, what was like the best show. We were like, this crowd was more crazy than at the main stage, and I think
because they all came for our show.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. Yeah.
That's what you know then.
Yeah.
It's empty and full
That
in 5 minutes.
Yeah, by default, everybody's at the main stage.
Yeah.
If you want to get people away from the main stage, that's because you really want to see an act, and there were that many people. It was crazy.
Yeah. So that was quite a good show. And the other thing is, Tomorrowland's always like kind of a magical place to play. It's really nice to. There are actually a few festivals that has that magical touch.
Which ones?
Tomorrowland, obviously. Ultra Miami is always really nice, but also
Crazy.
because it's a week of fun. It's kind of the ADE in Miami.
There are some crazy
ones in Romania. Untold Festival is really sick. And for the Netherlands, we have Mysteryland. That is kind of the Tomorrowland of the Netherlands, because it's really
Tomorrowland started as an offspring of Mysteryland.
So always when we play there, it's always fun. And obviously the Netherlands are really next level with organizing and doing all the festivals. We have too many. That is a good thing for us. But it's sometimes it's a bit too much in the Netherlands. But they're really good at it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next block. Like the direct occasion that you guys are here in this academy is that we educate a lot of students who want to make career in your industry as well.
Yeah.
Well, not primarily as an artist or a producer, but like behind the screens, managing guys like you, publishing music, licensing, etc. So I think it's very important. And that's why I choose this picture to introduce the subject. How the organization behind you guys, well, you just touched on it already. Can you explain us a bit further how the company, Lucas and Steve, maybe you don't like to approach it like that.
Yeah, but it is.
Of course.
It's why you live off.
It's the business.
So how does it work? How many people are working for you guys? What do they do?
I think we have probably around 12 people working from
it's easy. We had a Christmas cocktail Zoom meeting.
Oh yeah.
There were 17 people.
70 people. So and that's a variety of people who are going with us on tour, but also working at home, doing the day-to-day management. So we have a manager, a tour manager, who is always going with us to get everything done during the tour. Social media manager. Two. PR management, doing all the interviews and media. Photographer, video guy, VJ, who's doing all the visuals on the background of the LED screens of the shows.
Somebody for the pyrotechnics.
Somebody for the pyrotechnics and all the FX during the shows.
I'm redecorating a little bit, sorry.
Let me check. Sound engineer for during the shows. Light engineer during the shows.
Are they all full-time positions, or
no,
are they combining it?
They're combining it with other.
Most of them are entrepreneurs themselves. So they sometimes they work for us, sometimes for other DJs or bands even, or singers or whoever, and then we just book them in on time. But most of them are working with us in most of the occasions that they have.
And it actually depends on the show who we're taking with us. So there are only 2 or 3 that are always with us. That's tour manager, social media, and most of the time the VJ, because that's the most important part. But our manager is working for us full time. That's probably the most important one.
And she's the one. Her name is Michele Heijmans, and she's the one we've been working with from the beginning. Back then, she was still working for the management side of Spinning Records, Music All Stars. But then she started for herself, and we just kept on working together. And she's actually the one that we're in touch with on a daily basis. Also now in these COVID times. It's really important to keep the ties close, and just making sure that she knows what's going on music wise. She keeps us up to date about what's going on PR wise, what's going on with strategy. What's going on with interviews, all kinds of stuff.
Controlling the
central figure in your organization.
The central, She actually is, if you see it like this, we're in the middle, and she's everything around. She does everything around, and she's telling people what to do. So everybody, so not only the tour manager, but also the VJ, and she's controlling everything that we shouldn't do. Besides, we're just making music. So it's just really fun.
If we have an idea, or we just need to get something done, or whatever, we call her, and she gets in touch with the rest of the team. So we have one central person to talk to, and indeed making sure that we can just focus on the music.
What is needed, because a lot of our students want to work in this side, this particular side. What is important? We now know what she does, Michele, but what comes with it? What kind of skills or characteristics do you need as being an artist manager?
The thing is, which will definitely come in handy, and I know it's a personality trait, so if it's not you, then don't be too frightened. Just do your best and keep it in mind. But sometimes when we work with other people, whether it's DJs, songwriters, other producers, whoever, then what we notice is that our manager is exceptionally organized. And she is super on point when it comes to agendas, when it comes to deadlines, making sure that we deliver music in time, making sure that we deliver anything. She's really chasing us for all kinds of stuff. And it's not that we're super disorganized, but still, hey, we're creative guys. That kind of comes with it.
We are pretty unorganized.
It comes with the package that it's nice to have somebody to remind you of deadlines and stuff. So, but I think that's something that's
really important,
super valuable. Also, be creative on that side. That is not the music. Leave that to the artist, unless you're very musical and talented in that direction yourselves. And of course, feel free. But still be creative in all kinds of other things. Always. It's kind of like a CEO position. Be involved in everything. Be creative in everything.
Know what your artist wants, like we can write and read with Michele. Like we're working for so long with her already that actually we don't have to say anything to each other, and she already knows what we think of the whole plan, of the whole situation, and that is something that is really important. That is nothing that is not something that you will have in a year with an artist, but it's really important to really know what is best for your artist instead of I'm doing this because I think it's better, but she is working for the whole team and for the whole squad. So that is something that you have to keep in mind when you're working with an artist, is that it's our music, kind of it's our baby that we're sending out to the world, and she is trying to build that story around it, but keeping in mind that it is for Lucas and for me.
Yeah. I guess the only position is like the A&R, who is really involved into the musical part.
She is not. Michele is not involved in music. No. She knows that she don't know anything about the music. She only tells us when we deliver the track, "Oh, sounds good. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. This is going to be."
I think she only listens to Latin music herself.
Yeah.
So it's something entirely different.
That's sometimes that's a good thing, because then we can focus on the music and she can do her thing.
And so she's not fangirling all the time.
Amazing track. Oh, I love this one.
It keeps it fresh, maybe. Yeah. So, okay, the manager is the most important.
I think for every artist.
No discussion. If you should highlight without, just in random order, not to prioritize people, but if you just pick out one or two other positions you just mentioned, how important are they and what comes with it?
I think in these times especially, it's super important to have your social media on point, to keep on coming with new ideas, because the things that you used to do when it comes to shows, content of shows, touring material, it's all gone. Yeah. It's not there. So you need somebody to be creative and think of new things to post. And that's something that's really difficult. And of course, we're both producing every single day. Sometimes even in the weekends. Even now we have weekends. Before we were not used to weekends, and even now we have them. We still choose to go to the studio sometimes. So, but of course that is some content that you can post. But still, at some point, people have seen that and they're like, "Hey, you're a DJ, but a regular live stream is something we've seen so much this year already. So try to come up with something else," and that's where the social team comes in, also together with Michele, our manager. Yeah. But that's I think the position of social media manager has become
really important.
It's unmissable right now, and
like getting into new hypes, especially like TikTok. Yeah. There's so much happening around the development of social media, and it's for every. We're talking about marketing. That this is one of the biggest marketing tools that you have, and it's free. So we can show what we can do. We can give them a small look in what we are doing in the world of touring, in the world of making music, and it's kind of a selling tool towards promoters, but also towards your audience. It's just give them a show, give them a little look in what you're doing, and that is super important. So if you can manage that for an artist and try to create new ideas, then you can bring that artist to a next step. Yeah. So I think if besides management, that is the important part of an artist.
We're going to talk about Corona later on and how you face all these challenges. Final question before we have a short break comes from Job Jansen, and because we're talking a lot about successes, but I think we can learn from failures and slipperies as well. He wonders if what thing or action you would redo from the past, looking back on it.
Ooh. That's a difficult one. I think we discussed it earlier a little bit, but if that's the marketing and branding part. I think if you would have done that from the beginning and realized the importance, then I think that would have been of much help. To just do that in advance before you just start out of the blue.
Other things that come up in your mind now?
Actually,
no big failures, or you want to share, or things?
Well, nothing really actually.
Hey, I mean, there have been on stage some things like stupid stuff that you say something or start stuttering in front of an audience of I don't know how many people. I mean that's all human, but it sucks.
That has nothing to do with the business. I think if we would redo something, I don't think we would redo something because everything went pretty well, and it's also a really nice kind of build and nice process that we've been doing so far. So probably nothing. Yeah.
All right.
Kind of boring.
Yeah. I like the question.
But I like the question.
You're safe.
Yeah.
And we can learn from mistakes as well.
That's true. Maybe I come up with something, but
okay, we're gonna park that till after the break. Thanks so far, guys, and thanks you guys for watching. We're gonna have a short break for 10 minutes. So see you back in a while. All right, guys, welcome back after the break with Lucas and Steve. And we're taking it back to one of the questions because we just had a look in the break at all the questions that came in. We couldn't handle all of them. We're going to do that at the end. We have more space. But one that Steven wanted to pick out is a question by Jethro. And he was wondering what you guys do with your mixes. Do you send them to an engineer for the final mix, or do you do it yourself?
We do the whole. I will explain what we do in the studio. Is actually most of the time, Lucas. 90% of the time, Lucas is starting all the projects because he's really creative with all kinds of melodies, playing piano. Then we taking the demo to the studio, try to work at it. Lucas has already done some arranging things.
That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, this is how I start every project. It's my bunnies giving me the inspiration usually.
And then we work together on the track. And the question from Jethro is that we do all the mixing ourselves, including the mastering.
Really?
So actually from A to Z, the whole project is done by the two of us.
Wow,
which
that's quite
is
exceptional, right?
Yeah, that is quite exceptional because what you see nowadays is that the so-called ghost producer comes in who is making all the music, so the artist can do the tours. But we started making music, which is the biggest passion that we have. We really love touring, and it's really fun to see all those places and to meet new people and doing amazing shows. But for us, the music is making music is the most important part of our life. So that is why we really like to do everything from A to Z. And sometimes you hear a lot of people say, look and see if they probably don't make their music themselves because they're touring a lot. If we had the chance to, or if we should choose to tour or make music, then we probably both would choose make music.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'd like to add that your mix is such an important part of your sound. I know that some of our colleagues do actually start their projects, but they don't have the time or they're not experienced enough in mixing that they have other people do that. But your mix is so important for your sound. I cannot even imagine like starting a project, then giving it to somebody. You would get back something completely different. So for us, I don't see how. So yes, I would recommend everybody, and also if you manage an artist, that just try to make sure that they know what they're doing mixing wise. And of course, in the end, if the last 10%, then of course you can always have another set of ears, have another listen to it. And mix or master it, but I think it's the best.
It's always fun to. It's also fun to do it yourself because then you have the feeling that it's really your own thing that you do.
Your baby.
Your baby.
Your baby.
That is important. So we can both do the mix, but sometimes normally it's like Lucas starting, I finish.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is then obviously
Corona,
one of the
yes.
chances of Corona, I guess. Making music, you have a lot of time for it. And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, we're going to talk about that later on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first to introduce the topic, I had to think back to November 2019. I was in Mexico, in front of the stage of Dreamfields Mexico.
Nice.
I saw you playing over there
Oh wow,
with the students. We were there with 15 students co-producing the festival.
nice.
Ah, cool.
And back then, the only thing we knew Corona of was one of the
beers.
Mexican beers. And
Nice.
we were enjoying it a lot, I can tell
Oh,
you.
yes.
After work was done, of course. So that was Corona for us. And then 2-3 months later, well, we saw history happening,
Yeah.
and you ended up doing things like these.
Yes,
Yeah.
for small
Everything-
crowds,
Yeah,
small furry crowds. But yeah, it's something different.
Yeah.
how big was the shock for you guys in March?
You know, we kind of saw it coming. We
Yeah.
were actually in China when the whole Wuhan thing was happening.
Yeah.
We weren't in Wuhan, but we saw what it was doing to people there on airports. You know, everybody was panicking, wearing face masks already in halfway December, I think. Then after that, we both took a break in January. We were both in Indonesia then. Just chilling as it kind of started spreading everywhere. So, yeah, it was something that was really coming. We were still joking a little bit, like, oh, just imagine maybe it will cost us a few shows. But yeah, but the impact
Corona,
and yeah, and the size of the whole issue was something. I mean, we didn't expect it, but it was definitely a possibility. So. When it started happening in March, also in the Netherlands, we already, had decided we're just gonna do the production thing now 100% instead of, I don't know, 50% shows, 50% production and songwriting. But that's the direction we went for from the beginning. So yes, it was a big shock. We panicked a little bit in the beginning, but that wasn't like it was like for everybody, just see what happens. Of course, a big advantage for artists that do get a lot of airplay on the radio and get a lot of streams on Spotify is that you are not fully dependent on your on your income on touring.
Yeah.
So for us, that wasn't the issue, which gave us some space and some ease to focus on making music without blocking and panic and not knowing what to do. So we were really happy with that. But still, it's a big shock, and
First 2
also
months especially.
first 2 months, but still also for our team. I mean, we work with a lot of people. Steve just named a few, and although a lot of them are entrepreneurs. They all work in the event branch, which is really messed up right now.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of just shit happening around us, and it's something super difficult. And
How are these guys and girls doing right now? Did they get support? Do they still have work for you guys, or some of it?
Well, obviously, when we have work, we give it to our team, but it's really difficult. Like the whole touring schedule, we should do. I think we had 120 shows planned for this year. So that's kind of a full-time job for for probably everybody in the whole team, which falls. Yeah, it falls, and we try to figure a way out to. Get everybody still involved in the team, so live streams, setting up different things, not this kind of live stream.
We're gonna have a look at it.
We unplugged live stream.
Yeah, we try to create something new, but it's really difficult if we don't have anything to give. Like if we don't have work, we cannot make work. That's kind of a shitty thing about this crisis.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a look at another special stream in a minute, but I'm just wondering, how did you like fill in all this empty time you got from the weekends? What else did you do? You had a
Well,
surgery, right? I understood. And
Steve had a
I had a knee surgery. Yeah. 5 years ago, when I was playing football, I injured my knee, and that was 5 years ago. And back then I didn't have the time to had surgery. Then came COVID. Actually, was the ideal time to
let's go.
Did the hospital still have room for you guys?
Back then, yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah.
That was a private clinic,
private,
so
okay.
that was easy. But still recovering, and everything goes pretty well. So
Okay.
You're playing football again.
playing football again.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's kind of the upside of this whole.
The upside.
Yeah.
What other upsides are there apart from music production? Did you get more time for production?
for
Yes.
for
family and friends.
Family,
yeah.
friends.
You're getting
my
married, right? I
Girlfriend, yeah,
understood.
my fiance. Meanwhile, she became my fiance.
Yeah.
So some more time for the people around you, which is nice,
Yeah.
and can sometimes feel a little bit like a blessing, taking into account that after this, I don't expect that next year or even this year we will be
Full schedule.
we will fully be on tour again.
No.
That will take at least 2 years, I think. A lot of organizations worldwide have collapsed.
Yeah.
Of course, there will be new investors, so it will definitely not be a permanent problem, but it will take some time. But taking into account that at some point we will be touring again, full time. Maybe even 120 shows again. So it's nice, and it feels kind of like luxury that we get to have a break of 1 year. I do have to admit that we might, if we have the opportunity to do 120 shows again, I'm not sure whether we would take it, because we've production-wise, also for other artists. I mean, our Lucas and Steve release schedule is always full. We don't have any issue producing for our own release schedule. But now, producing for all those artists, and we're also doing working for pop projects and rappers in the United States. And that
you just mentioned a couple of them, Maan and
Maan, Ronnie Flex.
Ronnie Flex.
That's only for the Netherlands, but we're also working for a famous rapper in the States called Lil Pump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lil Pump.
So we're working on different projects, and it's just production work, and something that we really like to do.
Yeah, we always wanted to do that, and now we already had that opportunity, and we don't want to, we want to stay on that track also. So it's not like that we're only going to do 40 shows a year, but maybe, I don't know, random number, maybe 80 or something. Then you have a lot of time, to keep on doing those productions, at a decent pace, which we wouldn't want to miss, because as producers, that will only make you grow and learn more, and you don't want to, stand still. And
that's the first thing that we did when we heard about the whole COVID situation around March. Is we invested a lot of money in a second studio. Just we actually knew already that we saw the whole schedule collapsing, that we had like 120 shows every week. There were like maybe 20 cancellations. So we're like, okay, this is probably not gonna happen until September. That's what we thought back then. So no schedule, no tour, nothing planned. Let's invest the money that we normally would invest in shows in our second studio. So we built that. We updated the whole situation in the studio, 2 brand new speaker sets, everything brand new, and so we can work separately on productions. And that is actually, I think, the best investment that we did, because we knew we were gonna spend a lot of time here the upcoming years, probably.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about your new album, because that came this year, or last year as well. But how much more did you produce, if you relate it to like a pro-corona year?
I mean, for example, I think our album contains about 16 tracks or so, but I think we would have made I don't know, maybe 11 at best without COVID.
probably,
So only that's already 5 tracks extra.
Yeah.
Then a lot of pop productions going on. I don't know. Maybe we doubled output.
Club mixes that are
Club
coming.
mixes.
So much to
I think we
release
doubled.
still.
I think we doubled the
Right.
output
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
and that is something that for us is really nice. Still taking into account that normally we still would release the album if we had the.
It was already planned.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
already
Yeah.
planned. So, but still, it's nice to just drop 5 extra tracks that we
Yeah.
normally wouldn't have the time for to produce.
And people have time to listen right now.
And people have
You
time to
explained
listen.
in an interview that you have like 25 million streams a month. What
I
happened?
think so, yeah.
Was there a peak in
During the
streams?
album, there
What
was
you-
a peak, right?
Yeah, there have been a couple of peaks, in the beginning, but then we were already, on a roll with a couple of tracks that were performing really well, like our track Perfect that did amazing internationally. So then we had a peak at the beginning of the year. But then I think what a lot of DJs notice is that the festival crowd starts streaming a little bit less because there is no festivals to go to.
Yeah.
So then it dips a little bit, but it's still that's okay. And then around the album, of course, there was a big
Bump,
peak
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But there is still a big peak now because the track that we released as an album single is doing very well. I Want It All is the single of the album.
Another Life is
and
still
Another
going really
Li-
strong.
Another Life
from the
is
album.
also doing well, and Letters is also doing
Yeah.
pretty well. So they are still, those are the tracks that are probably the most popular on the album.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that way you managed to really stay alive in this year. And
Yeah.
although no public, like physical public, you still have, apart from rabbits, you did some amazing other things. We're going to have a look at, I guess this one was one of the highlights
King's Day,
of last year.
Yeah.
At the
In-
Palace.
At Palace Soesdijk, the
Yeah.
Royal Palace. We have a small fragment. Let's have a look. Amazing shots.
You by the ocean near the stand, we got our alcohol. 2 shots and a beer was just enough to get us drunk. Walking down the shore, falling asleep to endless evening talks. Young and wild and reckless, we were trying to change the world. But do memories ever die? Do our memories ever die? I wrote you letters to remember the summer days, no lonely nights. The time I used to call you mine. Now every cold December, I think about the way you dressed. I wish I took a photograph, but I know these memories never die. Yeah, now I know our memories never die.
Also the news, Palace Soesdijk is not another location to like drop kind of live streams or festival-ish kind of stuff. So this was pretty special to do, and also a big honor to play in front of the Royal Palace, because I think it's one of the most beautiful buildings that we have in the Netherlands, especially with the garden and with this weather. That was something really special, and it's a way to show that it also can be done differently, like celebrating King's Day. And that was one of the biggest things for us to show this year. So that went pretty well.
Which other live streams did you do? You did a couple of others, right?
Yeah, we did a couple of others. Some weren't really that special. We broadcasted them from our studio, but that's something. It's a fun story actually. Is that clubs, companies around the world just started booking live streams. So they paid us quite a lot of money to do a set in our studio. No flight expenses, You sleep in your own bed. It's just a regular day. We have our own
no tour manager.
our own setup. So that was really funny to see, and there was a peak in this, especially in China. I think a couple of clubs used to book DJs in that way every week. So those were a couple, but at some point it was like, now the kind of the value of doing live streams, except from these paid ones, it's diminishing a little bit, because everybody's been doing it for 3 or 4 months now, so it started to become a little bit less interesting. Then we started doing streams again as soon as we, could tag something
onto it,
fun onto it, and that's what we started doing in December. We've done a collaboration with Domino's Pizza, where we DJ'd in store, one with the Athlete's Foot, and another really cool one is about, but I'm not gonna tell which, but it might even be the biggest one so far and the craziest one. We're still recording, and this is one of the concepts that we thought of together with our manager and our social media team.
When can we expect it?
The first week of February, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's coming.
So just live streams in a store.
And what we notice immediately online is that it's getting way more attention on social media than the usual live streams, because it's just something different, a different approach, something funny. And it's still, people, I have the feeling that, now it's kind of becoming the time to get your vaccines and everything, that people are getting their hopes up that there might be some parties during the summer or after the summer, or at least there's something about to happen finally again. So then I think people can relate a little bit more to those live streams and imagine that at some point they will be partying again. So that might also help a little bit.
All right. Yeah, and then another highlight of the COVID year 2020 was, of course, your album in the form of letters. I think the streams say it all, and it's being played over the radio all over the place. But still, normally it's like you're in this circle, like in midweeks producing at home, doing your office things, and in the weekends performing. And producers tell me a lot of times that it is really a circle, that you get the energy from your performances to the production process and vice versa. How was it to produce an album without these elements in your careers?
I think.
Could you still have a connection with crowds or with your listeners?
That's actually a really good question. We always, and that's something that we just learned, always when we make music, we try to imagine a crowd in front of us. So if we play it loud in the studio, we can see the crowd moving or see people having a good time on this track. That's actually something that we learned from the last 15 years of making music, is that we can relate to how it feels to be in the field, to be at that stage when we play the track. And it's actually for the 16 tracks that we did on the album, every track has kind of that same feeling, totally different tracks, but has the feeling that people can feel energetic, happy, euphoric. And that's actually kind of a signature that we created for ourselves when making music. And that's what we try to achieve, is that people have a certain feeling when listening to our music. And that is really important for us when we produce. It's kind of what we are, but then translated to our music.
Yeah, positivity and good vibes is like summer, actually, tropical influences.
Tropical, actually, I know what you mean. It's just in just one keyword, it's probably positive, because that is what we also are, also in these kind of times. And when releasing that album, it was just giving people that spark of positivity that we had in the studio while making this.
There were quite some people, having questions on is it a good idea to drop an album now? Because you cannot go to radio stations to promote it. Maybe in the Netherlands, but definitely
You
not.
cannot play it at shows.
You cannot do an album tour, which is, of course, what our booker also is involved in. And we had some serious conversations with them, like, okay, but is it possible to do an album tour maybe a year after an album, 2 years? I don't know. So those are all things to take into account. But in the end, it would be super lame to keep on postponing an album. I mean, if everybody would be doing that, all artists and everybody would be at home listening to old music all the time, and that's what you don't want, of course. So we decided to drop it anyway. We will still do an album tour in the future, and if it's too late, we'll just drop a new album and tour with that one.
and actually, the nicest part of releasing this album was that we received so many reactions from people all over the world, saying that this album really took them through this really difficult year and through this crisis, and that is, I think, the biggest achievement that you can get from making an album. So we probably wouldn't have gained so many reactions on this, saying these kinds of compliments about this album while we were touring. So that is probably the biggest thing achievement you can get from releasing this one.
Yeah. Just having a glimpse into the latest questions. We're going to handle this them at the end, so that's a promise. First, we see a beautiful horizon here, but if we can get to the next slide, we're going to talk about that. And you just touched on it as well. You see, you mentioned the second half of this year. You have hope for that?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, what do you think in addition? First the Netherlands, or we see some activity in China, in Taiwan, etc. But
Barcelona,
it's fragile.
there was like a festival going on in Barcelona.
Barcelona had a test event with face masks, 0 infections.
Yeah, which is that's positive. Those are all positive stories. Still, I don't think we will have the same kind of festival year in about from now till 2 years, because it's just like what we're doing is we're touring all over the world, so it's probably starting for us in the Netherlands, which is really nice to just start with the base.
Yeah, you didn't consider touring in Asia?
Well, we gained some shows, or we were having opportunity to go to Taiwan and to Thailand, in Bangkok.
Thailand, but also to China.
And also to China.
Some company asked us to, a big promoter there, asked us to just come and live in Shanghai for half a year. Which sounds pretty cool, but still we didn't do it eventually because we were on a roll producing, and we didn't want to lose that. I think long term that's the biggest opportunity here, and not doing a couple of shows for half a year. Well, quite a lot of shows, but still long term that's only short term opportunity, not long term. So
and the same was for Bangkok. We should I think when we arrived in Bangkok, we should go in quarantine for 10 days, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think even 2 weeks, and then we couldn't get out of the hotel room
for 1 hour, for just 1 hour, right, per day. That was it.
If you're lucky. I don't. Yeah, I'm not
sure.
And not enough.
As far as I understood, some artists went and
we know.
Finally, it even was cancelled. The event. So it's all very fragile over there.
Yeah, it is. But still, to get back to your question, where will it start again? I think in the Netherlands we have the luxury that there will be at some point enough vaccines, and I think because of the entrepreneurial mind of the Dutch, I hope that festivals can start pretty soon again. Also taking into account the test festivals in Barcelona, for example. I think there will definitely be something again, and of course, the Netherlands have the biggest amount, greatest amount of festivals and organizations in the world. So. I think it will start again in the Netherlands pretty soon, and the most of the stuff will be.
And what about your agenda then? Do you have like concept bookings for this?
A lot. It's filled. It's packed.
A lot of things that were booked last year just
everything went over,
replaced,
so including a couple of new ones. But yeah, the schedule is full.
Yeah.
I think we have almost 120
Yeah.
shows.
I think for now everything until April is cancelled, and probably if we're in February, some stuff for April will be cancelled, and I think that will be the process. Yeah. It will be like dripping in, drop by drop, festival by festival. That will get an okay eventually.
Yeah.
But we will get there.
Yeah.
Which ones were already confirmed for 2020 and are replaced to this year that you can mention?
Hopefully, one of the I'm not sure. The ones in the beginning. I think the first one normally would be Tomorrowland Winter. But I think it's already a little bit late for that. I think I do have good hopes for Creamfields in Chile.
Yeah, but that's a festival. That's a festival. I think we should play there about probably 2 years ago already, but it postponed quite some time because there was shit going on in Chile.
There was something with the government first time,
and then the second time there was still those issues in Chile, and then COVID came, so they postponed it like 4 times already. But that's one of the biggest shows that we probably should do, because Creamfields in Chile is it's the biggest festival around there. It's almost 80,000 people, so crazy show.
Let's hope and pray for you guys.
Yeah,
well, and all the party people and the organizers and the whole business, of course. Let's take the last 10 minutes for answering some questions of the viewers. And one of them is once again Jethro, and he was wondering what the chemistry between you guys is in the studio. You just touched on it, like you usually start, and then what happens next?
What usually happens is I'm also really keen on sound designing. I can really lose myself in that and do it for hours without getting bored. So usually it starts with an idea, a melody, some sounds, sometimes even some song text already, but we both don't sing, so it's more than thinking of the concept and getting a good singer involved later on in the process. But then usually I create something, show it to Steve, what do you think? If he likes it, we continue. If he doesn't like it, we also continue.
And Lucas continues.
And then sometimes I just continue or go a different direction and show it again. If I'm super convinced, if I already have doubts myself, then just delete it. But that's the moment I just start building, and pretty soon in the process, that's Siri getting involved in the conversation.
Hi Siri.
That's good to know. So that's pretty soon in the process we are sitting together in the studio. But it's just we both have our strong points, but a lot of the stuff just happens with the two of us being.
And the vocalists you just mentioned, and you worked with so many in the meantime. How do you get to them?
That's something that was a big magic for us in the beginning of our career. So we're like, we want to get tracks with vocals, but we don't know any good vocalists. So, and we're in the beginning we wouldn't consider ourselves songwriters like 10 years ago. So we're like, where do we get started? But that started for us as soon as we started to get signed to a publisher, to Music All Stars Publishing. We're still signed to them, and they just started to send over top lines. So just only lyric songs,
lyrics,
sometimes
vocals.
some chords, but you're free to change them and melodies and everything.
A really rough demo.
Really, and then you just start working around it, creating sounds. But actually, from the tracks that we've released for the last 2 years, it's most of them were also involved in the writing of it, like also lyrically, doing way more songwriting sessions also. So there's quite a lot of people we work with a lot, which is Harris, who is singing on a lot of songs by us, like Letters, but also Perfect. Adrian Persons is one of his, and also our writing buddies. We're usually with the 4 of us, and then we just start writing music. I think we finished about 5 tracks or something. Also Gia Coca, she's incredible.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of a different approach than why we started making music. Is that you start to come up with a story, and then build a production around it instead of making a production around a story. And that is something that we had to learn during all those sessions. But we have the opportunity from our publisher to fly to LA, to fly to London, to Stockholm. Those are the 3 big cities in the world where everything around songwriting is happening, especially LA. So last year we went to LA February, right?
Right before COVID.
And then we go 2 weeks to LA to just have sessions with several writers and singer and songwriters. And then we come up with the stories and just build a whole track around it, including the songwriting and the lyrics. And that's what we kind of been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. And that's what you also hear in our music. It's kind of less clubby. It's more kind of pop oriented.
It's usually a better match, right? If you start writing something from scratch, then you
immediately have a feeling that it's yours. Or
for example, I started working on a song yesterday. The song was already there. Somebody sent it to us. Super cool song. But then you find yourself, finding ways to make it into your own. But if you start working from scratch, then it's already your own because you're writing it, and you will waste less time trying to make it something that might not be there yet. So that's a huge difference. So we really like to be involved ourselves from the start.
And for coming back to the question, is we work for almost 15 years in the studio together. So we exactly know from each other when Lucas has for instance, Lucas has the time to work on something really small, like a detail, and I know that he has something in his mind, and I cannot do something. We don't have 2 mouses, and we cannot work together on the project. So what is really important with working together is give each other the time to really get their thing done in the track, because that makes those small details can make it feel like that is really something special in the track. So I think that is the most important part of our work together, is knowing each other.
All right, we have a lot more questions.
Okay.
Can I ask you to be a bit more compact so that we can have a lot more?
Can you do multiple choice?
Yes, I can figure the answers. You just say. Thomas, he noticed in the stream that there was a track called No Diggity, well known, and he was wondering why it was never released.
It will be released.
It will be released.
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas, there you go.
No worries.
It will be
there. It's something you have to re-record vocals all over again because it's a collaboration. It will be with Blackstreet. So it's not sampling it, but redoing it. So. Because of COVID, it took them a lot of time, and we couldn't go to the US anymore to record, and it took them a lot of time to get to the studio in the US because all studios were closed. So that's actually the main reason.
But it will come very soon.
Okay, thank you for the compact answer as well.
You're welcome.
Okay, straight on to Edwin. He has, it's a bit the same as what I wanted to ask you. He was wondering, do you think that a virtual show like Tomorrowland around the world, or like the New Year show, has any future in the dance industry, even post-corona?
Yes.
Good question. I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Also because there is. There are already some shows with super heavy visual effects, like 3-dimensional hologram animations and stuff like that. And with such Tomorrowland shows, it's you can do more like that because it's fake. It's on a screen, and I think because the spectacular side of that, it will definitely have a future. And also. Doing shows in games, for example, is something that's coming up, and something we've done in African Live. Not sure, I to be honest, didn't hear of it before. It's huge. Holy shit. I don't even know. I lost count on how many followers we gained after that, and how much online merchandise was sold. It was crazy. Yeah. Okay, but so that's all going on online. So I'm pretty convinced there will be
and the thing is, people want to be part of a festival, even though they can fly to something like Tomorrowland. Like people all over the world know the festival Tomorrowland, but everybody knows that tickets are sold out in 5 minutes. So they still want to be part of that whole magic and festival. So yeah, that's a really nice way to still be part of the festival, but it's a nice way to turn around the whole thing that you cannot get a ticket.
You can reach so much more public by doing so, and even monetize it maybe, right? Like Tomorrowland asked quite a fair amount of euros, like 20 euros, I guess. Yeah. So you could even, if it's valuable, you could even monetize these initiatives. Yeah. All right, interesting. That is what the question of Edwin. Job Jansen, you work for some cool artists, but as two guys from Maastricht, would you consider doing a collab with Beppie Kraft?
Absolutely, yeah. She's for people who don't know her,
she's queen of Maastricht.
Oh yes,
the best singer that we have.
Oh really?
It's Maastrichtse carnavalsmuziek. And that would be crazy. We would do it. I'm not sure on how we would release it, also internationally, but for her we would find a way.
we had contact with André Rieu.
All right.
About
fellow Maastricht.
Maastricht, also pretty known. It was a pretty cool idea to just. Maybe we actually didn't know in what way, but we had some contact. Maybe in the future we will do something together. That would be nice.
All right. And then the final question. He was nominated by Nigel, who set up this Q&A as well. Yeah. I had to ask you guys what a Woomba is.
That's a very good question. Woomba is a fictive dish that we
Nigel came up with it in India.
In India, and he made us do it. Nigel is one of those guys that thinks of something, but in the end he convinces other people to do it. Yeah. So then we found ourselves being a little bit drunk, and being the assholes who called room service and kept on asking for Woomba, and people on the other side of the phone didn't understand, started panicking, and started sending us random food. Woomba, okay, maybe this is Woomba.
Yeah. So we ordered everything, and then she said it was Woomba, so we were like, okay, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, sure, why not?
Yeah. Well, it will probably go viral after this Q&A.
But we still, even though we're not always. We're not seeing each other that much. We're still talking about Woomba every day.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Those were quite almost all questions. To close it off, I would ask you guys to give our students one best advice you would give them to, if they want to work in this industry, in a one-liner. What would that be? That best advice.
Best advice is to always read contracts to the max. If you have doubts, check with a legal advisor. I think that would be a good one. We've never really been screwed over because we read contract. But that there was, for example, one occasion where this was a label from Italy, not the one we talked about, but a different one earlier in our careers. And in the contract it stated that they would have all the rights of our music for the next 25 years, no matter what song, just anything we released. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
The other one is if you're not know in the scene, like if you don't know what to do, like job-wise, or you don't know where your interests are in, then try to search in deeper in what everything like around the team as can be done. Like we have 17 people working for the team, Lucas and Steve, and probably 55 people who are watching now probably don't know what a tour manager is or what he's doing. Maybe there are your interests. If you don't know where your interests are in, then just get in deeper into the whole scene and everything that can be done in the whole situation around an artist, because there are so many ways to work your way up the ladder and go for that spark and passion that you have.
Yeah, and with regard to that one, I just have another one. I know I'm exceeding the amount, but still,
No problem.
Always trust that if you go for something that you have in mind, you want to reach a target. I don't think anything is too crazy. Just go for it. Don't stop, don't quit, even if it takes you years to reach one big goal, or maybe 10 or 20 years or whatever. With the right mindset, you will reach your targets sooner than you expect.
Yeah, everything can be done.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you. I know a lot of people want to take selfies with you. I'm not sure about our students right now, but I just want to give you the opportunity. We can, if you just unpin this image now, and we go back to the family view, and if you, Lucas and Steve, want to look in that camera, we can all wave and make. If you want to make a selfie, this is the moment.
This is the moment to make a selfie.
To take your digital selfie with a screenshot.
I see Nigel is
see
bringing
Nigel
some
is
Woomba.
creating
He's
some
providing
Woomba.
Woomba for the picture.
So we can all wave and take your screenshot with these guys. I want to thank you all guys for watching, enjoying this interview, and thanks for sending in your questions. I hope this was learnful for you guys, and thanks to Lucas and Steven for being with us.
You're welcome.
And
thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Enjoy, and let's all hope you get back into
that will
normal
be very
business.
nice.
Yes, fingers
Everybody
crossed.
at home, thank you for watching, and really good luck with fulfilling the study.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And thanks
That's
for
it.
watching.